All right, so before I go to bed, I have time to do a PewDiePie update. Um, he's garnered 23,408 more subscribers already for Wednesday, which we only entered on this site a few hours ago. That site being Social Blade, I think it rolls over at 8 o'clock my time, which is 11 o'clock Eastern. On Tuesday, he gained 157,618 subscribers. I'm not feeling the enthusiasm to get me to the 77 million, and yet the channel's on the verge of 5,000, or it's past 5,000, whether you trust my computer or you trust my phone. My phone says it's over 5,000. Good enough for me. And I'm wearing my brand new Letterkenny t shirt, which is kind of fun. Seasons 3 and 4 will be releasing on Hulu in the US on the 27th, and season 5 will be releasing in Canada on Christmas, and I will not be able to see it on Christmas Day because we're going to be in the States. I'm aware Daily Motion posts it. I'm aware of all this. Yvonne's let me know that we shouldn't have time to watch 6 episodes of Letterkenny while we're in the States. I accept her challenge. And we watched the live show tonight, and we'll talk about that in the morning. So that's part of the 5,000 subscriber thing. And thank you for all the support to get to this level. I've enjoyed watching this channel grow, and I want to address something else. Um, there have been a few people that say, "Wow, Shannon's trying to get views on this channel." Yeah, there's a news flash to that. That's kind of what everybody on YouTube does, and I do that with the hockey channel too. Now, if I wanted to go for cheap views on the hockey channel, I would just talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Vancouver Canucks, the big teams with the huge fan bases, and I would probably see growth faster on my channel. But I want to make sure I'm catering to everybody. Now, on this channel, there will be the occasional video where I may discuss a big YouTuber that might get some attention, but it will be sprinkled in and amongst other videos that seem obscure or different, because it is that which is obscure, it is that which is different, that I think has distinguished my work on both channels from where other channels necessarily would go. Having videos on topics that other people would go, wow, that's different, and it may not garner any views. It may not make may not make any money. It may not make a dollar, but it is something that, when you produce it, you put it up, and you go, you know what, I'm proud of that. So for me, there has to be pride with it, but at the same time, growth is important. This channel has slowly grown to the level of 5,000, but to me, once you pass 5,000, you can start garnering a lot of interest. At that point, people are far more likely to click on your videos. They're far more likely to click on your channel because they'll go, he's got 5,000 subscribers. What does he have to say? So I feel like, because I've watched the growth on my main channel and on this one, I feel more confident now than I did a couple years ago, for instance. And I feel like when there's something going on, that I can speak out about it, and I feel like it's okay for me to speak out about that because I have the viewer base behind me that I wouldn't have had 2 years ago, where I just would have said something and nobody would have seen it. For instance, is what, a year and a half ago now, when Logan Paul did the whole Suicide Forest thing and I was mad about it, barely got any views. People were worried that Logan's followers would stumble upon it and go nuts. Didn't happen because, in part, the channel was too small and it wasn't getting promoted. So the bigger the channel gets, the more it gets promoted through YouTube. It is a system that makes small YouTubers upset, sort of like they get upset over the whole copyright issue. I was looking on Twitter yesterday, and I saw some posts about how that you get a copyright strike on your channel, videos get pulled for copyright, and YouTube doesn't fix it. I know, and when I see that, I go, yeah, I'm well aware. This is why I don't show copyrighted material on this channel or on the main channel. Even if you're critiquing something. So I get a new CD and I'm playing a track to show you guys that the CD kind of sucks, or to show you guys the CD's kind of awesome. Either way, that music company has a right to tell me, you can't play that, or you can. And it's frustrating. One of my favorite things on YouTube is watching people listen to an album for the first time. That's one of my favorites and came out decades ago, where somebody who's way too young to have listened to it when it came out listens to it and they go, this is great. And it's like, yes, absolutely. Listen to that. It is a great album. That is an amazing album. I'm really glad this channel exists. But again, because they're using the copyrighted music, when the record company puts a tag on it and says either we get the revenue from that video, or we're going to pull that video down because it uses our music, that's just how that works. And I know it sucks for people. I know people are angry, but I learned early on when I had like 10 subscribers on my original channel, that if I used to have nights where I'd be really frustrated and I'd just do like a lip sync video, and I'd have like a 35-minute lip sync video. Uh, they were fun. They were fun to do. It was fun to come up with a playlist and then put it on random on Spotify and then go, well, whatever it plays, it plays. But yeah, as soon as it would post, I would have this music has been copyrighted, and I would have to message YouTube to pass along my message to the record company of why I felt that what I was doing was fair use. Now, interestingly enough, in every single case, the record company said, okay, we're not going to stop you from using that music, but you cannot make the money off this video. And I went, okay, because none of my videos were monetized at the time. They didn't get views. So it didn't bother me. But I never had a record company come back and say, no, we do not think you have the right to even listen to this music in a video. It was just, if that music's in a video, and it was never studio quality either, so it was always that I'd be listening to it through the TV, so the sound was not great. And I would point that out too. I'd say that's not clear. Nobody's going to be able to pirate the song listening to it through my video. So I'm not giving people songs to pirate. It's just there. And yeah, again, the record companies would always say, all right, that's fine. You can do that. The only exception was that if I used certain German bands, that the video would not be playable in Germany. Which at the time I went, nobody watches me in Germany anyways. So, it's Venus, it's my mom, it's a couple of friends of mine. It doesn't matter. So I didn't think anything of it. And so that just that experience made me realize that, copyrights, they take this really seriously, and yeah. You won't make any money off your videos if it uses copyrighted material. And if you got away with it previously, and then I see channels posting that they've had their accounts suspended for too many copyright violations. Yep. And it's one of those things that, that's why if I'm going to show a highlight from a hockey game, I make sure it's on my phone and I make sure it's only that play. And then I'm talking over it. I don't use the NHL's audio, and that, that's it. And it is very, very exceedingly rare that I use it. And if I ever had a chance to sit with Gary Bettman, I would talk to him straight up, and I'd tell him I did that. And I'd say, is that okay, or is that something that the lawyers from the NHL would see and say, you can't do that? And if he said, you probably shouldn't do that, I'd stop altogether. And I would even say that. I'd say, Gary Bettman doesn't want me to do this. Which I think would actually be kind of funny. But, yeah. Anyways, I just wanted to just chit-chat with you guys a little bit tonight while my other video uploads and finishes processing, because it was a long one tonight, and I don't feel much like doing videos and being the hockey guy tonight. The entertainment guy I can be a little more relaxed with, which is apparently what people like, and Yvonne is not in this video because she's trying to go to bed. She's tired, and I don't blame her for being tired. And this cold that I have, I got from her. She had it last week, so almost every video I posted last week, there would be a sneeze in the background. Yeah. Yeah, I got it from her. So that's one of those wonderful things about getting married. You share everything, including cold viruses. It's amazing. Because honestly, I work from home, so it can't have been from anybody else. I haven't been out in the public eye in the last while. Oh, I also want to talk about something else. I'm Alex, the video I watched of his, which was about James Charles pleading for privacy. And I've seen this with YouTubers, and people say this. They'll say, well, you don't have a right to privacy because, you broadcast your life on the internet. No, not a thing. That's never been a thing. That's ridiculous. Look at authors. I used to read all of Dean Koontz's books, and I read some of Stephen King's. And if you read their books, you'll know exactly where they live. You'll know what kind of personalities they have, because all of their characters, like how many characters did Stephen King have that were set in Little Rock? You look at Dean Koontz's books; they're all in California. All of Dean Koontz's books, for a while there was a smart dog. It was a Labrador. He had a Labrador. and he would always dedicate his books to his wife Gerda. So it's based on that. Is that enough information for me to say, geez, if I find his house, I can just like totally walk up to it because, I know he likes dogs. I've read all of his books. He seems like a nice enough guy, so I have the right to do that. No. But because of the forum we have now, it definitely makes people feel like they have the rights to YouTubers and the you owe us, which is weird because you don't see that anywhere else. You just don't. Well, I can't say that. I really can't say that. I worked in retail. How the hell could I say that when I worked in retail? The idea that, well, you owe me this. No, I don't. I remember there was I was working at 7-Eleven, and it says right on the door, we have less than $30 in the till. And I always did because I didn't want to get robbed. And if I was working with somebody who had a ton of money in the till and I'd see their till open, as soon as the customers would leave, I'd be like, can you get that out of there? Get that the hell. I don't want to get robbed. So I'd make them do a cash drop, goes in the safe, and then I can relax a little bit because if a customer sees that and if they have desperate intentions, they might go, wow, that's at least $120 in there. Yeah, I want that money. But I had a woman come in one night, and she said, I've got a cab outside and I need a 50 changed for 2 20s and a 10. And I said, I don't have 2 20s and a 10 in my till. I said, I don't have that. And I said, we don't make change like that. And she said, well, your coworker, and I'm not going to name her on here, but she threw the name because she does. And I said, okay, but I can't. And I've been instructed that we don't do that. I do not have $50 in my till, and I can't make that change for you. And she went off. She was so mad, and I was like, I can't. It says right on the door, we have less than $30. Well, they always do it for me. I'm like, well, okay, but I can't. So here she was, like, I owed her because I worked there, even though this was an agreement I'd never heard before. It was sort of like the guy who came in, and he wanted me to just give him the Slurpee. He just comes in, I don't have any money. And I'm like, so why did you pour it? That's exactly what I said. I said, why did you pour it? He goes, well, because I was just going to leave my stuff here. And he had like, I don't know, climbing equipment or something or some weird crap. He's like, I'm just going to leave this here. I'll go home and get my money and I'll come back. And I'm like, where do you live? And he's like, oh, I live down. And it was the other end of town. And I'm like, no. And I'm thinking, I don't want that crap on my counter for the next hour. So you might come back. And I'm like, no. And he's like, well, I've already poured it. And I'm like, okay, but I can't just let you leave with something you haven't paid for. You have to pay money for what you're taking out of here. He poured it on the counter. He took the lid off and he poured it all over the counter. He's like, there, now nobody's going to drink it. And I was like, okay. Then I was working nights a few days later, and the same guy comes in. He goes, hey, Chief. And I'm like, no, you're out of here. He's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, you don't get to shop in my store when I'm here. What are you talking about? And I'm like, you poured a Slurpee all over here. I said, do you know how sticky that gets? No matter how much I cleaned, this counter was still sticky. I had to clean this counter like 3 times. And he went off on me again. And I'm like, yeah, that's why you're not in my store. You have to go to the one downtown. And then I talked to one of the girls from the downtown store when she came down to work at ours. And I described the guy and she goes, yeah, he's banned from the downtown store too. So yeah, I guess people do act like they're entitled. They do. They act like they're entitled. And as a YouTuber, I know that's something that I have to deal with. I know that, YouTubers, as they get bigger, security's a deal. That's a thing. The only good thing with the whole security thing is it's a write-off. You can say it's a business expense, the security stuff. But, it's tricky because when I'm reading this tweet about what this guy's going through, and what people are saying, I'm thinking, geez, so no matter how big your house is, you're still a prisoner in it. You don't want to be a prisoner in your own house. It doesn't matter how big it is. I could have an arcade in my house and a full skating rink in the bottom of it. But if I can't leave the house, I'm a prisoner. So I get it. I do. I know, with the channel having been small, as the channel gets bigger, I still have subscribers on my hockey channel that I keep in contact with. And I consider them friends. And I wouldn't necessarily be paranoid about them knowing where I would live because we're going to move in March. And when we move, Yvonne and I are talking about just how much privacy we want to have with where we're living. So I probably won't tell people what town it is, as an example. But there are certain people that I consider friends of mine that, yeah, I would tell them where I lived because I'm not worried about them telling other people. But as the channel, got bigger and bigger, more security measures would have to be taken. And I find it weird that there are people in the public who think, well, that's the job. Dealing with people who are just going to show up at your house in the middle of the night expecting to have a tour, that's just how that works. It's not, though. It really isn't. I know I've run into people who are sports stars, and I've never thought I should just go over to their house. Not a thing. It's really strange to me, the sense of ownership over somebody. And again, I get it. People watch me every day. They feel like I'm their friend, and I'm glad that I'm able to help them through tough times in their life. I'm glad that my videos are able to help them out. I see people say, "Oh, your videos are boring." Okay, other people say they're soothing. So there's that. I remember when I worked on the phones at work, and I'd have what I have now. Eventually, I start losing my voice, and there's a level at which I would have girls saying, Shannon, I don't really like you, but your voice sounds really sexy right now. There's this in between, and I could never master it because, of course, you can't hear your own voice, right? So I'm like, oh, what is that voice that? But it doesn't matter now. Now I'm just old and I'm a fart, and I'm enjoying Letterkenny now instead of all that stuff, and life changes quickly. And at this time of year you think about it a lot. So yeah, there you go. There's my ramble for tonight. So there you go. You're welcome. Anyways, I just wanted to thank you guys for helping this channel get to 5,000. 77 million is just an ongoing joke that I'm enjoying. Soon it'll be 78. Felix will get to 78. The interesting thing is, while his subscriber counts keep going up, his views don't. His view time doesn't. So this is just people hitting like and subscribe, or just subscribe, and then they move on. So, that's really at the heart of what's going on. If you look at the watch time, as I pointed out in the video where I talked about the 20 biggest YouTube channels, the view time is just all T-Series. It's just their view time is off the charts. So there you go. I'm going to shut up now so I can finish editing this and then go to bed. But again, thank you guys so much for all the support. I intend to do some fun videos for both channels while we're gone. And the more support I see with this channel, the more I see momentum picking up, the more content you're going to get here. So there you go. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Hit like and subscribe. Join the 5,000 while you still can. Get in on the ground floor. And my honest hope at some point is that both channels will be strong. Both channels will be about equal in terms of views, in terms of videos, and in terms of whatever creativity I can bring, whatever uniqueness I can bring, and that they're both enjoyed by different groups with some crossover. That's what I'm hoping for. So thank you for your support along the way in that, and let's hope I can get there. Thank you guys so much again. I'll talk to you again soon.